Welcome to ePathshala lecture series in computer science. Now, the paper is software quality management. Today's module is software configuration management. Learning objectives to introduce the concept of software configuration management, to explain the role of baseline in software configuration management, and how to do changes in the software and how to get the approval of changes. These are the things we are going to learn today. Software configuration management. No matter where you are in the system life cycle, the system will change and the desire to change will persist throughout the life cycle. In day to day life, whatever we do, we need change. For example, you are going to a hotel, you are ordering for something. First time you will think that item 1 is better, tastier, but you feel that item 2 may be tastier than item 1. Then you will call the supplier, you will say that no, I ordered for item 1, if it is not ordered, you cancel it, I want to go for item 2, like that you will say. In this way, in many purchases, when we take children to purchase, they ask for one item. Before we pay the bill, they will say that I do not want this item, I want another item. We must be able to accommodate that change. In life, whatever we want to do the changes, it is adaptable. That change management must be available in software also. In the software, changes may come in the requirements, it may come in the analysis model, it may come in the design model, and it may come in the implementation, it may come in testing, it may come even after delivery of the software. You must expect the changes. Whenever changes are required by customers, you must be able to make the changes with politeness if it is a good change. If the change is not good for the customer, you can explain them that this changes will give you bad effect. Now, where and all we can do changes? Changes will be coming due to business requirements, change in the business requirements, user requirements, and software models, documents, data, code, plan. In all these things changes will come. Now, briefly if you want to say where and all changes will come, it will come in program, it will come in document, it will come in data. In software engineering, there are 3 objects which are very important. Many people think that software engineering is dealing with programming alone. It is not only programming. How to do software development in an effective way. The 3 software engineering objects are software configuration objects we say. They are the program or code, that is first thing. Second thing, the data or the database which you maintain. Third thing, documentation. Many people write the code very well, they collect the data, store the data, efficiently they retrieve, but they are not bothering about the documentation. Documentation is also very important. If documentation is not done properly, then the changing is very difficult. Therefore, for change management, you have to take care of all the 3 things: program, data, and documents. Now, what is in the software configuration or the software configuration items? They are system specification, software project plan, software requirement specification, preliminary user manual, design specification, software source code, test plan, installation software, executable software. Now, when we say configuration, it starts from the requirement document, design document. After that, coding, whatever code you are writing, that is also very important, the configuration. Then data, then user manual, then executable software. All these things are necessary in the configuration. Now, the change management, there are 5 steps. The 5 steps are: identify the changes, version control, change control, auditing, and reporting. For this, what we want is the tools, methods, procedure, and the total quality management foundation. Now, we will see the 5 steps involved in the software configuration management one by one. First, we will define what is meant by software configuration management. Software configuration management deals with the changes which are coming in the software. Why you want to have a procedure for configuration management? By doing the changes in a proper way, you are able to minimize the mistake. When you minimize the mistake, the quality of the software is increased. Therefore, in the SCM activities, you have to identify the change, control the change, and it is implemented properly. After that, you have to report it properly. Next, I will say about baseline. For explaining baseline, I will once again take the example of going to the restaurant. You assume that you are going to the restaurant, you are going to order items. When you go to the restaurant along with your friends for a dinner, first you are asking for the menu. The supplier is bringing the menu card to you. You are going through the menu, you are all discussing. On discussion with the friends, you are giving order to the supplier. The supplier is taking the orders, he is writing in a piece of paper, he is reading the items ordered by you to you. Now, by the time he is reading, you find that something is missing or something is to be added, you can tell him, I want to add this item, or you change this item and put some other item. When you do like that, before he makes the order, whatever changes you make, he will accept it. After giving the order, he goes to the kitchen. After going to the kitchen, he is asking the cook to prepare it. After that, you feel that when he comes to you, you feel that the item ordered by you is not correct. Instead of ordering item 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you added items 1, 3, 5, 7. You want to change to item 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You are asking the supplier whether I can change the items already ordered. He says that the baseline is up to the time I go into the kitchen, you can make changes. After go to the kitchen, I go to the kitchen, I have asked the cook to do the preparation. They started the preparation. After starting the preparation, it is not possible to cancel the items. This is what he says. So, changes are possible within the baseline. The baseline is the kitchen door. Up to the kitchen door, whether you want to make changes when the eating area is there in the restaurant, in that area what and all changes you want to make, you can make. But once the supplier reaches the kitchen door, he enters inside the kitchen, then you cannot make. That is only baseline. In software also, you can make changes when the software is with you. You are the developer, you are doing the testing, and the development team and testing team both you can discuss, you can make changes, and when it is given to the customer, it is a baseline. Up to the time you give it to the customer, you can make changes without any problem. After you give it to the customer, if you want to make changes, then it is to be approved. For approval, there must be a process. Even in the academic institutions, there is a procedure for modifying the marks entered. For example, you are entering the mark for your students after the test. You are entering correctly, but by mistake you are entering some entry wrongly. When it is with you, you can read it once again. After proofreading, you can change it very easily. On the other hand, if you do not do proofreading, you are sending to the control of examination office. After that, if you want to make changes, you must explain them why you are making changes. You have to give a request, maybe you have to give the request by in writing, it should be approved by the head of the department, then it may be dean. After dean, it may be going to the control of examination. In the control of examination also, there will be a hierarchy. It has to go through all the people and it should be approved. Whether the changes must be carried out or not, they will check it, and with a proper approval, you have to change. In every process, if you want to make changes, you can make changes when things are within your hand. If you want to make changes after you are supplying to some other person, then you have to adopt a procedure. That is only change control procedure. In this lecture, I want to explain how to make changes after it is delivered to the supplier, that is the customer. Now, The software configuration management, that is change management, must answer the following questions. They are: how do we manage requests for change, and what and where are the software components, what is the status of each software component, how does a change reflect to another change affect the another component. In one component, if you make a change, how it affects another component, and somebody wants to make changes and somebody else wants to say that you should don't change it, how to resolve that, and how to maintain multiple versions, and how to make the system up to date. You see the changes. I will take the example of conducting a test. Sometimes my students used to come and ask for change of date in the schedule. One student says that I am going for a marriage on a particular day, and on that day you are keeping the test. Sir, can you change the date? If I am conducting as per schedule, then no problem. On the other hand, if I want to help the person who wants to go to the marriage, I will change the date. But it may be conflicting with the date, conflicting with some other person. For example, in the next date, modified date, somebody else is having a arrears examination, or he is having some other duty on that day, then you have to change that also. Like that, when you make changes to the test schedule, examination schedule, everywhere problems will come. Now, how to manage that? That is only a problem in real life. The same type of problems are available in software also. In the software, one customer says that you make change to the database. Another customer says that don't make any change. Both customers are working in the same company. You are delivering the software to both the people, and one person wants some changes and other person does not want the changes. You have to evaluate the change. If you make changes, what benefit will be there? If you don't make changes, what benefit will be there? If you make changes, what effects will be there? All that things you have to evaluate. You have to come with a compromising formula. You have to get the approval for change. After getting the approval for change, you have to do the changes. That is what the change management SCM must answer. Now, the SCM tasks are: identify the changes, version control, change control, configuration audit, and status of auditing. Now, identification of object, where and all changes are possible. It can be in the program, it can be in the modules of the software, it can be in the analysis software, analysis document, it can be in the design document, it can be in the testing document, it can be in the database, it can be in the documentation. So, where and all you are going to make changes, you have to identify the documents in which you are going to make changes, and you have to make a entry on that. What is the name of that change, what description you are going to make for that change, and how will you make, and if you make, whether how you will get approval, and whether it will affect others or not, all that things you have to identify. Next, version control. When you make a new software, you can give a new version. The new version may be better than the older version. Sometimes the older version may be better than the new version. You take any software, they are going by versions. The version numbering can be 1, 2, 3. For example, Oracle 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, like that it is coming. In some operating systems, they are giving 1, 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, or 1, 2 they will give. But if the 2 is not good, 1 is better, they will go back to 1. They will make a version called 1.1, 1.2, like that they will be coming. In this way, what type of version number you are going to give, and in each version what facilities are available, whether a new version is upward compatible with the older version. By making a new version, whether you are losing any facilities available in the older version, all that things you have to take care in the version control. Next, change control. Change control needs human procedures as well as automated mechanism. Human procedure means you have to get approval. Getting approval needs the support of many people. If you are a developer, you have to go to the project leader. From project leader, you have to ask to go to the project director. Then project director to company topmost manager. From topmost manager, it has to go to the customer side. In the customer side also, there will be a hierarchy. From the topmost, you have to come down to the person who is using that. So, change control is not easy with respect to human beings, we have to satisfy everything. Second thing, the tools. You may be having an automated tool which will make changes. When you make changes with the automated tool, it will not understand the human requirements. When it is not understanding the human requirements, for example, even the string substitution, you are changing one string to another string. If you give a blind substitution command, it may be copying searching for the occurrence of the string, and it will modify in all the places where it is necessary and where it is not necessary also it will modify. You have to manually find it where it is necessary and where it is not necessary. Similar to that, when you use a automated tool, it is not going to distinguish between important software, important component and unimportant component. Everywhere it will make uniform change. As a result of that, it will affect the people. You have to be very careful when you are using automated tools. For change control, normally a procedure is you have to check whether the change is required or not. If it is required, you have to ask the person to make a request in the form of a change request. It should come always from the customer. It can come from the developer also. If the developer feels that whatever facilities he was giving, it is not sufficient, additional facilities can be given, it can be initiated by the developer also. But most probably it is initiated by the user, that is the customer who wants to use the software, may be in need of some more facilities. So, he will come to the developer side, he will say, I need these facilities, can you give it? If it is possible, you can ask him to put a request in writing. He will write a request in the form of a document, and you have to submit it to the manager of your development side. For example, you are a software developer, you have to give to the project manager. The project manager will make a recommendation to the project leader, project manager. You have to go to the project leader, he will send it to project manager. The project manager will send it to the company director. The director will approve it. So, once it is approved, you are given a change order. That change order is called engineering change order, in short form ECO. ECO is engineering change order is issued to you. Once you get that, then you can go to the place where the software is stored now. It is checked out of the company. You can take it from the customer place to the company, or from company to the place where you are doing the development. It is to be recorded, and you have to take it only with a permission. When you take it, you are writing that this version of the software is taken for modification, and it will take this time. I am taking this software, this program code, this database, and this many lines of code, this many records of data, this type of documentation I am taking, like that you have to write it and take it, and you have to make a baseline for that and do the testing. Check after doing that, making the changes, once again you check in the source code and document and rebuild the version. You have to do access control also. Access control means everybody cannot take the software and make changes. Who can modify, who have the permission to modify, they have to take. That is why access control tells that who can read, who can write, who can transport, who can modify, all that things are given in the access control. So, access control policies are applied. So, if you take the software engineer first check in, then after that he goes to the project database, the project database check the access control, the software is checked out, you are taking the software, you are modifying it. After modifying, you have to check it once again and give it to the project database. It is a cycle, it is done continuously up to the time the required quality is achieved. The next step is configuration audit. Whatever work you are doing, it should be audited. There is a difference between audit and inspection. Inspection is done in between, audit is done at the end of your work. When you finish your work, whether it is done correctly or not, if there is some breach of that is violation of something rules, whether the rules are followed correctly or not, that are checked by auditing. So, the auditing, they will check whether reviews are conducted after changes. Once you make changes, it should go to the software review once again, and whether it followed the procedure or not, that also will be checked. So, if it is following the procedure correctly and the changes are made as per the specification, then it can be audit can be success. The auditor will have so many questions. Has a change specified in the engineering change order is made, whether any additional modification is done. When you make changes, whatever changes are approved, only that change you have to do. You should not make any additional change. After making changes, you have to do once again technical review, and technical review must follow the standards, whether it is reviewed correctly and the standards are followed correctly, and the changes must be highlighted. For example, you are having a document. In the document, you have to write what are all the original version and what changes are made, and the changes must be marked with a color or with some underlining and so on, and whether the procedure is followed and the changes are updated properly or not. All these things are checked in the configuration audit. Now, finally reporting. You have to do get the permission, do the changes. After doing the changes, review. After doing review, then auditing. After audit is also cleared, then you have to give the status report. The status report should be given to different people. You have to write a report to the immediate superior, that is a project leader, in a detailed way. The same report you have to send it to the project manager in a crisp way. When it is going to the company director, very crisply you have to give. The reason is the project leader is seeing only your project. The project manager may be seeing 2-3 projects. On the other hand, the company director is taking care of all the projects which are going in the company. Therefore, he will not be seeing how many people are working, who is on leave, who is doing the changes, who is handling the database, who is handling network, who is doing the testing. All that details he will not say. How many projects are successful, how much money is spent, how much revenue is generated, and is there any delay, like that details only he is going to say. Therefore, in the reporting you have to specify what happened, who did it, when did it happen, and by doing the changes what else will be affected. All that things you have to do reporting to the superiors. Now, we have seen the change management. In the change management, we have seen mainly 5 steps. First thing, you have to identify the changes. When I told identify the changes, you have to identify the changes in the requirements mainly, or it may be in the design also. That is why changes will come in the requirement, in the analysis, in the design, in the coding, in the development, in the implementation, after that in the deployment also. Sometimes during the maintenance also changes will come. Therefore, where in which phase of the life cycle changes are coming, that you have to identify and record them properly. And one change will make a problem to some other module. When you make a change, this module will work correctly and other module will not work. Therefore, there must be a review. In the review, you have to answer all the queries related to your module and the modules developed by others. Whenever you make a small change, you have to check the software once again thoroughly through testing, through debugging, through inspection, through walkthrough, through reviews. By doing all these things, then you are sending once again to the top management. The top management is sending them for auditing. In the audit, some objections will be there. Many times you will feel that the procedure is followed by you correctly. Your teammates, they may be thinking that there are no errors and they will certify. It may be through in the alpha testing, beta testing and gamma testing. If it is not through in the alpha testing, you will do once more alpha testing. you will make the changes, test it again. But when it goes to the customer, that side problems are coming, then you have to come once again, you get permission, take more time, do the changes, after that you go for the usual procedure. Now there are many benefits with the change management. If changes are allowed and you are not controlling, if you don't control, for example changing of mark without control, then every time people will try to change it, and there will be no limitation on time. As a result of that, publication of result will get delayed. Therefore, they will prescribe a time, within this time you can make the changes. After that, whatever changes are coming, we will not enter time. Therefore, they will inform the students in advance. If you want to make changes by genuine means, if you want to report any changes, then you can come and approach within that date. We can put in the notice board, we can take the signature of the people, like that so many things we are doing for sending mark. Similar thing in purchase also. In the purchase, if you want to change the items, within 1 week we can change the items, and they are giving guarantee for many items. When you go for purchase, guarantee is given for 1 year, guarantee is given for 6 months and so on. You want to make changes within that guaranteed period, then you can make changes. Otherwise, then you have to go for a very big procedure. The SCM benefits are, and summary is, SCM reduces the effort required to manage and effect the change, improved productivity. That is, when you are going and making the changes with the proper means, with the proper approval, you are not in the risk. Your risk is reduced. When the risk is reduced, the quality is also increased. So, if you want to increase the software quality, then there must be a procedure, standard procedure for change management. Second thing, it leads to better quality, better software integrity and security. In software, integrity means who can modify, when it can be modified, and modification should be correct modifications. Correct modification means it should not affect others, and database modification means you can validate with a domain integrity constraint. For example, marks should be in between 0 to 100, age should be within this range, like that you are giving. That rule should be followed correctly, so that you are doing only valid modification. Next, security. When you do modifications with the proper permissions, it provides security to the software. Anybody else cannot modify. If you allow everybody to modify without the access, here they are talking about access control. Access control means who can read, who can write, who can modify, when it can be done, how it can be done, all that procedures are followed. When you go with the procedure, your software is also, your data, your information, they are secured. Anybody cannot modify at random without permission. Next, the management control. Management control is there. You cannot go to the management and ask for change every time. Whenever there is a necessary change, then only you can ask for changes. If there is no control, then changes will be coming continuously. When you make more and more changes, the quality of the software will come down. You have to plan in advance what modules are to be provided in the software. You have to provide them when the development is there. If new versions are to be developed, then thorough study should be done, thorough analysis and thorough design should be there. If you make changes in the analysis and design, the cost will be around 3%. If you make changes in the coding time, it will be around 60% cost. On the other hand, when it goes to the customer, after that you want to make changes, it will be very costly, and the cost may be 100 times more than what is done in the analysis time and design time. Therefore, it should be controlled properly. Now, it maintains a software development database, and about every user, they will maintain a software, what and all projects they have done, what and all changes they have done, how they have done, like that they will have a history. When you give a report about changes, if somebody is always developing wrong software and making changes, that person will not be treated as a good software engineer, and somebody who is not allowing any changes, that is also a not good software engineer. A software engineer is a good person if he is able to do changes with the proper approval, and whenever there is a necessity to make changes, he must have a formal mechanism through which he must be able to change. The formal mechanism means how to make changes to the program, how to make changes to the database. In the database design also, you have to go for enhancement in the design, or you have to go for a shrinking schema. All that things you have to design. Finally, you have to have record keeping and tracking in a better way. Record keeping and tracking means whatever changes you are making, all that things should be recorded in a notebook. If you make it in a notebook with recording, or in a database you are storing everything, after 5 years or 10 years, if you want further changes, you have to see what changes were made already, and how it was developed, how you have arrived at the second version, third version, and so on. By seeing that changes history, you can go for a new software very easily. So these are the benefits of software configuration management. Now summary: quality is increased, it is used to enhance the process quality as well as product quality. Thank you.